Hello ratbags, it's Jade. Welcome to a Conan Exiles news video today. I've been giving you some Conan Exiles news in my general news videos, and I've been showing you some stuff when we've had new stuff like the follower commands. But today I want to talk more in depth about DLC and the new map expansion that's meant to be coming in, and just a few things that kind of bugging me, and I want your opinion. Over the weekend, there was a trailer leaked for the brand new Argos DLC. Now, I told you guys about this a couple of weeks ago. I showed you guys that someone had found it in the game files, that there is a DLC set. It looks like it's going to be very much like the rest of them we've seen, like the Yamatai, Turan, Blood and Sand, etc. But this one's going to be called Argos. And just for a recap show, if you don't know what Argos is, it's meant to be a set of isles like Greece, Crete and West Turkey. And that fits in with everything I told you about the Shattered Shore. Again, I broke this to you a couple of weeks ago that it appeared on Instagram as a cover for an advertisement for Conan Exiles in general, that it looks like their new expansion map is going to be called the Shattered Shore. Here's the actual screen grab. This is what I caught and found on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. Now, this was a general promotion over the top of Conan Exiles, and it all ties in with everything I've been telling you since before Christmas, that we would be getting a new paid map expansion. Let's go over what was leaked. The Architects of Argos trailer. Now, when you go and click on it, it's been put to private. I wasn't quick enough to grab a copy of it. But anyway, Funcom put this on private, so I have no idea what it really contains other than reading some of the comments. According to the comments, they're saying that the building pieces are nice. It looks a little bit like an Aquilonia style content, and pretty much it is going to be based on a Greek theme or Greek set. Apparently it looks like a bit like Roman armor, some of the stuff as well, and we've already had variations of this kind of stuff. But there are some comments saying it just looks like a bit of a cheaper version of Aquilonian stuff. Anywho, I'm not going to go too much through that, that's pretty subjective. All in all, Conan and Funcom have done pretty well for themselves out of this kind of DLC, which is meant to be cosmetic only. Now, I know there's an argument that's been brewing for a while. I've spoke about this with Firespark a little bit, about apparently Funcom once said they wouldn't make any DLC that wasn't cosmetic. And I can see some people being a bit upset and pissed off about it. And I think one of Firespark's videos got like loads of views because he was talking about that situation. Now, I really can't remember coming across that too much. I know the devs spoke about having no paid DLC in early access. They'd seen what had happened with Wildcard and Ark Survival Evolved. And ever since then, as far as I knew it, it was indeed DLC packs that were meant to be cosmetic only. Although that's still a little bit argumentative, as some of this stuff is not just cosmetic. I don't know how anyone can claim that building pieces that change the shape of structures, that give you new ways to build, is just cosmetic. Maybe it doesn't give you the biggest advantage in the world. Same goes for some of the armor sets that are a little bit unique compared to some of the others. It doesn't give you much of an advantage, but some of them do have some interesting stats or differences that a lot of players, hardcore players, really like. Anywho, I'd be here all year talking about this crap. This stuff isn't the most expensive. For fans of Conan, and this is what we've got to talk about, is paying $30, $40 for a season pass that has all of these bits of kit is something that people will buy into. Conan Exiles came out like 2 years ago nearly now. Remember, it was in early access a year before that. And so for fans that really love this game, having yearly content almost that adds new content, adds new stuff to play with, as well as all the free content that comes with the updates that periodically get put out, it's not the worst DLC model to go down. It's not microtransactions for each individual piece, so I understand that a lot of people like this. On the flip side, the content they've been putting out is really the content that should have probably been in there at launch. Funcom have openly admitted that they ended up having to just put the launch out as quickly as they could, or that they didn't have enough time to put in the features they wanted, and so they've been slowly adding the features over time. And that's great, it's good to see. They've expanded on them features massively. We've had so many more bits and bobs added to the game that I think was ever mentioned in early access. And in terms of developers doing things the right way, I think Funcom are nearly there. Compared to their competition at least anyway, they are miles ahead of Wildcard and Ark and the way that they release their DLC. Buggy, broken, really horrendous, pretty expensive for what it is, and it is literally giving people an advantage. That's my opinion of Ark DLC. But Conan have kept it on the down low a little bit. They're pleasing their hardcore players that buy the game and buy this DLC every year. So I don't think too many people are probably going to cry their eyes out about another new DLC like the Argos. But it does raise some questions for me. We've already got a map expansion coming. I'm presuming that map expansion will be anywhere between $15 and $20. If it's more than that, I'll be very perturbed about the fact they're doing this kind of DLC as well. Make no mistake, Funcom have made a lot of money, hence why they've been bought out by Tencent. And so this idea that we're here to support developers is great. We should do. Everyone should want to support their favourite game by buying content as well, especially when they are delivering on other stuff. But there are a few pitfalls that Funcom are falling into. I've lost count of how many months it's been now since avatars were in the game. Like seriously, it must be something like 6 to 8 months now since they were disabled. Is it really right that a core feature of a game for 2.5 years gets removed and then we have no real talk or discussion about what's happening with it for that long time? And all the while they've still been selling DLC. Right now, if you wanted to buy the complete edition on Steam, and remember it's more expensive on Xbox and PlayStation, you'd be paying up to £86, and that would get you 2 seasons worth of extra content, building, armor pieces, and it is great. I've got the majority of this across all 3 platforms that I showcase stuff to you guys. But I still argue, I don't think it's a great look when there's so much of the game still not right or not in the right place. And I think Funcom probably need to get the house in order before selling any more DLC to us. And that's the biggest takeaway I've got from hearing more leaks about new DLC. Where the hell is avatars? You've got to be able to give us some proper communication about what's going on. I really feel like it's been a disservice to people that really love this game and have been playing it for a long time. You might not even like the avatars. I've seen a strong reaction saying that they don't want them back, that they feel they're overpowered, overused, and without the avatars it's actually a much more balanced game. Likewise though, I felt that people have got no real end game to work towards now. It's just more dungeons, and that feeling of power in invoking an avatar and using it to smite your foes, it's kind of lost. Smaller and solo clans don't really have any chance against some of the bigger clans that are still playing. And that's what the avatars can do. It does provide a level playing field if you can get the time and resources to get it on your own. Now Conan Exiles do great stuff with their test live, and again I applaud them. It's why I voted them better than Ark Survival Evolved in my Conan vs Ark video last year. I've pretty much done that video every year for the last 3 years, and for the first time I could outwardly say that if you're looking for a brand new survival open world experience, I would recommend you buy Conan over Ark if money is a factor. I also recommend it in just terms of enjoyment and in terms of the development support. And in the last 2 years, Funcom have definitely done a better job in supporting the game properly, not leaving people waiting, not leaving loads of delays and problems and issues. So I kind of left off maybe complaining about the avatar situation. Now we're getting more expansions news, now we're getting more DLC news coming out and being leaked. I feel like now's the time they've got to address it. You can't keep releasing paid DLC when some of your content in your main game is broken. Likelihood is that this paid DLC will come along the follower 2.0 update, which obviously means you've got better commands for the followers like attack, hold, use melee weapons and stuff. But I've still not seen too much more in test live to make that update chunkier. With each piece of paid DLC that Funcom have released, they've released a fairly decent update alongside it. We had the Blood and Wine pack when we had like the Pleasures of the Kurtu or whatever it was. Then we had the Riders of Arboria DLC when mounts were introduced to the game, and they've kind of got into that pattern. And it makes sense, it's business sense. Release a brand new DLC that's going to come inside with free content, and it makes everyone feel good. But a simple update, well, I will not say simple, but updates to a full follower system that have long been touted and have been a part of the players' request list since early access, I don't really deem as worthwhile update to start pushing out more paid DLC. It obviously takes a while to test this stuff, but it does feel like some resources are being diverted already for the next June game rather than Conan. And yes, there are problems with everyone working at home. I do appreciate that. There's going to be lots of delays to lots of favourite games that we've already seen, as well as some old games and content too. But they are well placed for this. They're a pretty international company. They've got offices in America. They've obviously got offices over Europe as well. So it's not like it's an impossible task. They've got their test live servers, which they use to good effect, or have started using it much better effect, giving longer testing the stuff out rather than just releasing it quickly. So I'm really happy that they're spending more time on the test live servers. I hope I'm trying to convey how up and down I feel about Funcom and Conan. I respect what they've done and I like what they've done in certain aspects. I feel like they treat their player base much better than other games. But then there's other stuff that just makes me feel like they need to maybe work it a bit better. communication about features being missing, exactly what's going on with the brand new expansion map and these DLCs. I think that needs to be addressed as well. I had been hoping in Fantasyland, because I'm thinking about value for gamers, is that the expansion map would be free and they will just continue selling these cosmetic DLCs, maybe make an extra one or two for the rest of the year to coincide. That would be a better alternative for me than a proper paid expansion. That would then keep them on side with some fans that supposedly do remember this time where they said they would only ever sell cosmetic items, and so they wouldn't kind of be breaking any promises if that's what they made. And I think it could be a good way to reward their fan base, the players that are playing this game on a regular. Funcom has a lot of a good hardcore following, the people that are kind of buying into this DLCs continuously, but they could do with some new players coming to Conan Exiles. But by the looks of things, judging by this report that only went live a few days ago for their financials for the whole year, it does look like the expansion is going to be a paid map on top of whatever other mini DLC, season pass or smaller ones come out as well. We still don't know how the expansion will work. Is it going to be a completely new land? It sounds like it to me. And that would mean then you have to think about transferring players and whether or not you can jump across the maps. And that creates another headache. But it's also a big issue with Conan. Conan gets really stale because you can't transfer server to server. With only 40 players on a server, the combat and stuff gets a bit boring after a while. There's just usually someone really so built up that you've got no chance to overthrow them. And I'm talking strictly PvP here. I understand there's lots of servers that aren't like that. They're PvE places and a lot of people like them. But remember, Conan is meant to be a PvP multiplayer game. There is some last final viewpoint from me that I'm just going to go through too. A lot of people felt like the mounts update has been pretty useless. And they're testing the issue now where you can at least have a follower as well as a mount right now. And that's great, that should be added. But some people were a bit underwhelmed by the choice in the mounts. I think a lot of us expected to see all sorts of creatures like camels at least, and maybe some people wanted a little bit more exotic. Elephants, camels and horses would all make great additions, but with the map being relatively small, it makes mounts seem just a little bit useless. Hence why if there is a brand new map, the Shattered Shores, we're presuming it's going to be much larger and that horses would be needed. Of course, the whole name of Shattered Shores signifies it is a lot of islands, and since the first DLC we're going to probably get a look at is called ARGOS, which is based on smaller little islands at sea, we've kind of all been thinking, well, I say we all, about possible pirates, about boats, about naval sort of contact or content. And I think that would be a great idea for Conan. I'm excited by the possibility of being able to craft and build your own boats. That would be pretty cool. But once more, that will make more mounts a bit redundant unless there's a significant portion of land to use them on. Anyway, wrapping it all up, here's really the lowdown of what I need opinion on. Is it okay that they're going to be selling cosmetic DLC on top of a paid expansion when they've still got so many things they probably need to address? So there we go at the moment. That's what's happening at the moment, and that's what I want opinion about. And of course, that argument that I spoke about at the start, that some people feel that they shouldn't have any paid expansions because they promised once that they would only ever have cosmetic DLC. And that's a viable one for some people. I understand that business changes and sometimes you've got to go back on something, especially a few years after you first announced it. And again, especially when you're trying to make your game from one thing to another, where they've kind of transitioned Conan into a live experience. But with so much money made by them, with so much investment coming in, I really do feel like now's the time for Funcom to add even more to its player base. Sell it cheap, get it out there. The minute you keep making more expensive stuff for players to buy, you start fractioning and losing players. And let's not forget, it's 2020. Some of the biggest games that you play no longer have paid maps. They're very different games, but look at stuff like Call of Duty. They've got rid of their paid map expansions. Look at Battlefield, got rid of their paid maps. Even Art Survival Evolved, who I pretty much loathe at this point with the way they treat their fans, they still produce free maps and free content each year. And that draws in a hell of a lot of people. So this idea that a paid map expansion should just be swallowed, I don't think so. With so much cosmetic DLC being sold throughout the year, with their investments being great and their money they're raking in, I just don't see the need for having a huge paid expansion. Instead of selling a season pass just for the cosmetics for $40, they should chuck in the map. I think they really should just chuck it all in one season pass. The amount of money they've made, the investment they've got coming in, I think that would be a great way to grow the game even more. If they have the expansion pretty expensive, if it's more than sort of $15 or $20, imagine if it ends up being $30 or $40, and then they add on top all these other DLCs, I think that would be way too expensive. Times are getting tough. With the COVID stuff happening still, lots of people's incomes are going to be on the down low. I don't think now's the time to get a bit too greedy. They've made a lot of money, it's time to give something back to the fans. The content and updates we've had for free have been great, and as I said, a lot of it was never in the early access plans. That said, there is definitely still lots of content still missing from what they said they would bring in early access. If any of that content makes it only to the expansion, I will probably be a bit pissed off. There's talks that possibly more Trebuchet and Siege Warfare could be coming to the expansion. I think I've had a convo with Firespark recently that he thinks they're going to be adding lots of gods or new ones or re-enabling them when the new expansion comes out. And whatever happened to sorcery and magic that was long vaulted, but we're still a good few months away from that happening. The second half of the year doesn't begin until at least July. And I just find it a strange state of affairs that the devs haven't really spoken or outlined their vision since pretty much their CEOs let the cat out of the bag. What I want is answers on avatars before any more DLC gets sold or put on sale. What I want answers on is what's going on with the expansion. How much is it going to cost? And is there going to be some sort of saving if you buy the expansion plus the season pass of DLC that I presume is coming? So a lot of questions, and just really to give you an update and situation about what's going on. I'm excited to get back into Conan. I just needed some new content, some fresh stuff to get into it. I do like playing Conan Exiles, but I often find that after the quick updates that they do, the content dries up quite quickly. With only one type of mount, i.e. the horses, with a simplified way that you tame them and get them, there isn't as much content to put into the game sometimes when we just get this content every sort of 6 to 8 weeks. Funcom want Conan Exiles to be a live service game, but they probably need to increase the speed at what they release this stuff. They've got their big update coming with the thralls and they're improving it, and that's great to see. But again, that was all stuff that was spoken about during early access. So the fact it's taken 2 years to do a proper revamp of the followers is not really something to be proud of. And this is all kind of mounting up a little bit. But that's an opinion. I'll obviously be trying it out hopefully. And of course, any more news, I'll be the first person to let you know as always. So until next time, Rat Pags, I'll see you later.